Hello and welcome to The Studio Demands It, an exercise in creative thinking where we will challenge ourselves to conceptualize, pitch, and craft a film based on the demands and stipulations from one of you listeners acting as a hypothetical Hollywood overlord. We talk movies all the time.
All the time.
And as professional screenwriters ourselves and avid cinephiles, we'd like to believe that we could meet any demand thrown at us. We will be your screenwriters for this episode. I am TCD Witts, and joining me, as always, is Jim 4DX Burzelic. I'm going to come over there and start shaking the couch.
Oh, God. Oh, it's like it's happening in real life.
How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. We saw a movie in 4DX last night.
We did.
Which, much to the acclaim of one of our acquaintances who was like, you got it, 4DX is the greatest. And so Jim and I had our first 4DX experience, which is basically a ride, right? Like the seats move and they spray air at you. And if we'd been in the front row, they sprayed water at us. Apparently there's a smell element I didn't catch because we're wearing masks. COVID masks, not masks in the theater. That'd be a whole nother VR element there. But
I see. Yeah.
What was your experience for the 4DX?
I loved it. I thought it was great. I think the only thing is what you said when we walked out is you wouldn't want that for a first time experience.
Right.
And I do think that's probably true.
Like if
maybe I'm just too old and I can't be moving. I need to hear and see the movie.
We saw Spider-Man No Way Home again. It was a repeat viewing for us each. And yeah, if that had been the first time I watched it, I would not have enjoyed it because I would want to. I'm trying to pay attention. Stop moving my seat. Like I get annoyed when someone kicks my seat twice.
Sure.
When I'm sitting in a regular movie.
Well, that's a little different because it's not timed to the action.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, there's a real smart kid right behind me who's like, explosion, kick, kick, kick.
Boom. I'm making it real for you, sir.
We got so giggly when it first started because I don't particularly know what I was expecting. But as soon as it kicked off and you're holding your big tub of popcorn, you're like, popcorn was a bad choice. I'm going to put my cup on the floor.
Yeah, I spilled a lot of soda on myself last night. I thought I had done an experience like that previously. Mm-hmm. Specifically, I thought I had seen Godzilla in a theater like that. And for that, the seat didn't it wasn't on hydraulics and stuff. Yeah, it just had like a weird, the way I described it is like a video game rumble pack.
The D-box seats are like
maybe that's what it was.
Where they have the speakers like built into the seat and they like, you feel your ass jiggling.
Yeah.
When King Kong, giant lizard. Giant lizard versus monkey.
I heard Johnny Lizard. King Kong versus Johnny Lizard.
Well, Godzilla has his cousin Johnny Lizard. He's this cool. He wears a leather jacket and sunglasses. They're giant sunglasses, right? And
actually,
and he
now
talks.
That you say that, I'm remembering I had a coloring book and I think a T-shirt that went along with it of a skateboarding T-Rex.
Yeah, Johnny Lizard.
When I was a little kid.
it's Godzilla's cousin.
It was so awesome.
It's very much like Godzilla's out there and you're like, ah! Right? And then Johnny Lizard shows like, hey, Gotti over here. What are you doing, eh? We're gonna go. You want to go skateboarding later?
It's like Joe Cool and Snoopy.
That's right.
Except giant lizards.
That's right. Johnny Lizard.
Well, his name is Johnny Lizard.
But they are giant lizards.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. What were we talking about? Oh, the 4D experience. Yeah.
Yeah.
This was a full tilting, dropping, jerking around.
Yeah. It's pretty crazy.
It was cool. There were a couple occasions where I'm like, all right, not every footstep needs to have the seat just shake violently.
I loved it. Once I knew that that's what I was in for, mm-hmm. I was in all the way.
I'm on board.
But yeah, I don't know if I'd want a first time viewing to be that.
Who programs those things? Because as we continue,
the 4DX people
through the rest of this conversation and whatever else we talk on this episode, we don't often say this. Spoilers. If you have not seen Spider-Man No Way Home, go see
your
it.
chairs will shake. That's the spoiler. Is your chair will shake.
Sorry to ruin that experience for you. So from this point on, spoilers. You've been warned. Kirsten Dunst showing up was pretty amazing.
Don't do that.
Okay, that was a test. That wasn't a real spoiler. Okay, so here's a real spoiler, right?
I actually was thinking about that as we were watching the movie, though.
Yeah.
Well, she knew Peter.
Yeah.
And if they were together, why wouldn't they have been
wouldn't you just show-
together? Whatever.
Contracts. Yeah. So anyway, so when Topher Grace shows up as Venom, I was like, this is the best Venom we could get. Again, attached, just making to see if anyone was still listening. Okay, so real spoilers. Like when Doc Ock stabs Peter right in the chest and manages to get his nano suit right in time. The back of my seat just like jammed me in the back. I was like, oh, that's good. Good programming, 4D experience guy. But you had water on yours? Like you were getting sprayed?
A little bit, yeah.
I didn't get sprayed at all. Maybe the tube, like
your
the
water bottle was empty.
Yeah. They used to have a guy from concessions come up with us, like just spray me in the face.
Spray.
Thanks.
Spray my eyes.
I don't think this is doing what you think it's doing. So Danny, who we went with, was like, "Oh, Mad Max Fury Road in 4DX was insane. I bet Fast and the Furious would be incredible in that experience." She's like,
it probably would, yeah.
Yeah. It's like every time he says family, the seat hugs you.
Yeah.
Family. No, but it was cool. And having seen it another time in that experience was cool as well. So yeah, so the 4DX experience, I don't know. Yeah, probably a car race. Next Fast and the Furious, I'll go see it. Go do that again. But ultimately, I think I'll just stick with the recliners.
Not for you.
I didn't dislike it. It just was like, I don't often see movies multiple times is the thing. Right. Because there's just so much to watch and do.
Sure.
And it would have to be a really great movie for me to see another time. Or what was that? 5 for Danny?
Yeah.
I can't do 5. Yeah. Not in that such quick succession. But yeah, I would go see a Fast and the Furious or something. Or Johnny Lizard and Godzilla.
Johnny Lizard, King Kong. Yeah. Johnny Lizard coming to a theater near you.
Yeah. But let's continue on here. If you're with me,
I'm ready.
Go for this ride.
Yeah.
I'm gonna shake the couch again.
Oh God.
You listeners have given us a list of demands from studios literally all over the world, and these demands have been submitted at studiodemandsit.com or on Twitter at studiodemandsit. Send us whatever demand you like, and we have to make something up right here on the spot. So thanks to everyone who continues to submit. So keep them coming. With that in mind, let's get to today's demand. I picked this because this is part of the general conversation we've been having anyway over the recent weeks.
What movie would I make specifically for 4DX?
That's right.
Yeah. Okay.
Which would it be?
A 4DX? What?
Oh, 4DX, the movie?
Yes.
So it's about the making of It's a biopic.
Yes.
Whoa. Interesting. So it's a real boring way at first, but as the technology develops, it's like, and then the seat shake. He made the seat shake. Wow. Oscar-winning Best Picture, 4DX, the movie. No. So I went through our demands and picked specifically the topic we're going to discuss right now, but I found that there was 3 of the same topic.
Okay.
So we're doing Spider-Man. Just gonna,
okay.
There's no reason to bury the lead because we've joked about this all the time. Jim doesn't know the topic, but now I'm telling you, we're doing Spider-Man.
Okay.
Now let me read the 3 demands.
Didn't we? We did Spider-Man.
We did Spider-Man last season.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is this season.
It was the best. It was the best one.
We did pretty
much what No Way Home.
We did Brand New Day. No, that was season 1. If you go back to season 1,
season 1. Oh God.
The listeners, you wonderful listeners, chose your favorite episode of season 1 was the Spider-Man Brand New Day pitched by Jim. Much to my chagrin, as I say, I can't believe you made me like Brand New Day.
Yeah.
But so first up, this comes from Joseph West from Definitely Not Sony Entertainment. Now, some of these just go with me on this.
Yep.
So here's from Joe. A live-action Spider-Verse movie starring Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, and Tom Holland that is only connected to each individual series. Try to come up with some way to convince Maguire and Garfield to come back that isn't just money. And no Mephisto. So,
because
granted,
that's what I did. It's
that's a callback to Brand New Day.
That episode. Yeah.
But we didn't have to do it. It's been done.
Yeah.
So congratulations, Joe. I hope you enjoyed No Way Home.
Yeah.
Next one came from. Don't worry, Joe. I'm not disregarding your demand. bear with me. This one comes from Tom and Tom from Hardy Har Har Studios. Let's imagine for a second that Sony doesn't have control over all things Spider-Man. Let's imagine for a second that the MCU had free reign over the library of characters, and specifically Venom. The studio demands that you insert yourselves into any timeline, anywhere of your choosing, and craft a Venom film, be it a solo movie or one with Spider-Man in the lead, but the movie is actually a Venom story, a la Civil War being a backdoor pilot for Black Panther. Tom Hardy is the perfect casting, so maintain his presence. Good luck, gentlemen. Wow me, and I'll put a good word in for you with Kevin Feige. Peace. Thank you, Tom, and well, both you Toms. Yes, please hook us up with Kevin Feige. Now let me get the last demand here. This is from Mika from Green Needle Studios. Brainstorm. Did you hear me say Green Needle?
No, I heard Brainstorm.
I'm going to say it again.
Brainstorm.
I heard Green Needle. Okay. And this is our most so of those the two previous. So from Tom and who was the first one? Joe. Yours, yes. This one came in just recently. Well, the sons of bitches did it. They found a way to bring back Andrew Garfield and somehow turn haters into apologists. With the success of No Way Home, it is looking spectacularly likely that we haven't seen the last of Garfield's friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, or maybe ... not so friendly. Whatever Sony had planned was trash, and there's literally no reason to ever return to that Sinister Six they were setting up. Don't disagree, dude. I don't disagree. However, it is now worth seeing another Amazing Spider-Man. The studio demands that you fold Andrew into the existing Sony Pictures universe of Marvel characters, or SPUMP for short. That includes Venom, Morbius, and somehow Vulture. No multiverse traveling. Keep it in the spunk. Okay. I think that's the demand we should focus in on.
Okay.
Is Amazing Spider-Man 3.
Okay.
Okay. Because we've been chatting about this.
We have.
Anyway, ever since Andrew Garfield appeared in No Way Home, proved he is a good Spider-Man.
That was a great description. Yes. Haters have become apologists. That is a very good description.
Thank you, Mika, for that. And for reminding me that it's called Spunk. Spider-Man, but Sony Pictures Universe of Marvel characters. Spunk.
Yep.
But we've chatted casually about this. Seems like a real possibility. And the fact that Morbius has been delayed a couple months.
Yep.
Seems like, okay, they're filming an Andrew Garfield scene.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I would be shocked if they didn't. Right. Yeah. But so to go to Tom's
Tom and Tom at Hardy Har Har Pictures.
Thank you.
I remember all that because it's Tom Hardy. Get it, Tom?
Oh, Tom Hardy and Tom Holland. Hardy Har Har. It went right over my head.
Yeah.
They're asking for a Venom in the MCU. Mika is asking for an Andrew Garfield in the Sony universe.
Mm-hmm. And
Joe from Joe's first demand was just he wanted No Way Home.
Yeah.
we got you.
Yeah. The other way was I thought I pitched it back in season 1. I would want to do the Spider Wasp story.
Yes.
I would have the spider totem.
Ezekiel, the spider totem.
It basically pulls the multiverse of Spider-Man together, and he's using the other Spider-Men to distract the Spider Wasp while he goes and does nefarious. He just accumulates enough power to get away.
Yeah, he's so Ezekiel. It's a Straczynski creation, or mid 2000s. He had spider-like abilities. He didn't have web shooters, but he had all the other powers that Peter had because he had done some ritual to give him the powers of the spider totem. Mm-hmm. And then the Spider Wasp, which turns up once a century or something like that, some rotation of the stars, shows up to kill the beholder of the totem. Mm-hmm. So Ezekiel
tries handing it off,
mentors the totem out of Peter to the point where that's how they got organic web shooters in the 616. They did Spider-Man like being able to speak and speak to spiders and control spiders, and the other was part of that storyline, that mini run. And then ultimately Ezekiel feels bad about setting up Peter for death and comes to the rescue.
But ultimately, that so long ago was what I would like to do as far as like a multi-Spider-Man picture.
Mm-hmm. And she's a great villain. Spider-Wasp is this force of nature type villain. Mm-hmm. She has no...
I like things like that.
Yeah. It's just this unstoppable, hungry force.
Yeah, it's not something that you're going to put in jail.
You can't negotiate with this thing, right?
Just because yes, No Way Home did satisfy his demand, but I don't feel like we're here to just point out movies that already do what the demand was.
Well, we have two other demands
we do, which is why. But nevertheless, I wanted to address that is ultimately what I would do.
Ezekiel cracks open the multiverse to draw in Spider-Man from across the multiverse to just throw at the Spider Wasp.
Yes,
that's not bad. And then team up to destroy her.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Really, in No Way Home, if they had just decided, okay, Emma Stone showing up as Spider-Gwen, we're gonna get
the really weird
Jake
thing,
Johnson as Peter B. Parker.
I've seen fan art actually at this point of Emma Stone as Spider-Gwen having a reunion with Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man, and like the No Way Home has now talked about the multiverse in a way that all of that, like every fan is now like, oh, but it's possible.
It's on the table. It's on the well. One of the original drafts, one of the earlier drafts of The Amazing Spider-Man 2, with its 50 subplots, they had written that
a lot of subplots.
That Gwen doesn't die, and that Peter injects his blood into her to save her life, and she becomes Ghost Spider.
Makes sense.
And do you think they named her Ghost Spider because Gwen's dead? Like, historically, Gwen is a dead character, so she's like a ghost. Ghost
I mean, now that you say that, that I guess that's a possibility. I don't believe so. I thought it was because the outfit design was like, oh, well, if it's what kind of spider would this be? We're looking at this
Ghost Spider.
Yeah,
she looks. That's one of the best newer costumes, like of the multitude of comic costumes out there. That Spider-Gwen costume is fantastic.
Yeah, it really is.
Even with the ballet slippers and all, like the whole nine. But in an earlier draft of The Amazing Spider-Man 2, they were going to tee that up to end the movie with the two of them fighting crime together. Probably would have been, I don't know, better than what we got, but
no, like it's not like that would have changed that movie to being good.
Yeah, we recently rewatched it.
What it would have done is it would have redefined how Spider-Man gets rebooted from now on. I think, depending on how they did it, as well. If they just took that. Literally, that costume is like we've talked about how many people are cosplaying that costume and stuff like that, right? Because we've had other female spider characters,
Spider-Woman in more than one form, more than one costume, redhead, black and white suit, which predates the Venom black symbiote suit from Spider-Man. I think it's Jessica Drew who has the red and gold.
And is that Spider-Woman or is there a Spider-Girl?
That's Spider-Woman. Spider-Girl is Peter and Mary Jane's daughter from the M2 universe.
And so it's not just that, oh, Spider-Gwen's a female Spider-Man and that's why she caught on.
Silk is another one, yeah.
Yeah, none of those, like that's not why the characters caught on. Because none of those characters caught on, you can kind of point at Spider-Gwen and say it's that costume.
It's the costume, yeah.
It is a well done story, but it is I really think it's far and away that costume.
It's that costume. So let's Andrew Garfield leaves the MCU and heads back to his universe. So we can pick up from there.
Sure.
He hints at the loss of Gwen leading him down a darker path.
Sure. Having
him he gets a redemption in saving MJ in No Way Home. Again, I told you ages ago, spoilers. So I feel bad saying these things out loud, but we gave the heads up. I have no guilt.
Yeah.
He had his redemption in getting to save MJ. So who is he going back? He knows the multiverse exists now. He knows magic exists now. Like
as he said, magic exists in this world. He doesn't know that, like as far as he knows, magic doesn't exist in the world he's going to. it's literally a multiverse out there. They don't actually share villain. Well,
if
actually,
he's going
they
to
didn't
the
have a large enough conversation to be like, oh yeah, you had a Green Goblin, and that is now Tom Holland's a Green Goblin. Guys, I had a Green Goblin.
My Harry Osborn was horrible.
He was an old friend. He wasn't my best friend. He was an old friend.
If he's going to the Sony, the Spunk,
Yep.
we have aliens in Venom.
Mhm.
Multiple aliens have shown up. We had Carnage being a spinoff, a red one. And we do have, is Morbius, it's paranormal at the very least. Morbius in this universe as well.
I think it's going to touch on the paranormal, but it looks to still be keeping it super science. They're sticking with, from what I know of, a bunch of the comic. Clearly, he's a classic Spider-Man science villain in that I have this disability,
Debilitation.
and I'm going to cure it with science.
Oh,
and that science is on the fringe, and it leads
turned
in
me
weird way,
into
yeah.
a giant wheel.
Yeah.
That is one of Spider-Man's villains.
Oh yeah. What's their name?
Big Wheel.
Big wheel, keep on turning.
So, but if he's
Big
going,
wheel.
if he's going back to to Morbius and Venom exist, and he did point out that yes, and
he said Michael Keaton's Vulture, which that is likely Michael Keaton's Vulture.
Mhm.
Although until we see the movie, we don't have verification of it. And if it is Michael Keaton as the Vulture, it has to be a different storyline because, again, that is not the MCU. So Tom Holland didn't stop him from stealing SHIELD salvage tech
Mhm.
And then putting him in jail. This Vulture has to be a completely different situation.
a different criminal, right?
Or if Spider-Man did put him away,
Mhm.
he was doing something else.
in some different capacity, yeah. Maybe and in prison. So in the MCU, in prison, we saw him cross paths with Scorpion.
Mhm.
If this is Toombs in the Spunk universe, Scorpion may not exist. He may exist in some other capacity. All we have to go off right now is the trailer as of recording. Oh, by the way, Big Wheel's name is Jackson Wheel
Oh,
with an E at the end of Wheel. Yeah.
wow. They didn't even go for like a weird pun like DC does. They just,
His name is
it's
Jackson
just
Wheel,
it's his name.
and he plays Big Wheel.
My name's Jack Wheel. My friends call me Big Wheel.
Big Wheel as a villain.
I don't know why that has to be his voice. His voice could like be.
Hey guys,
Yeah.
I'm Big
Hey guys,
Wheel.
I'm Jack Wheel.
I'm gonna run you over.
Big Wheel.
Look out, here I come. I mean, don't look out because I don't want you to know I'm coming. Vroom vroom. I'm Big Wheel.
Too big to see.
He would be as dumb as the rhino costume at the end of Amazing Spider-Man 2.
I just fought a guy with a Russian accent and a
My villain's
rhinoceros
lame.
machine.
No, hey, what's this name? Let's go back to you are amazing. Say it. That's just nice to hear. Okay, so Andrew Garfield goes back to his universe. What's the Spider-Man story you want to tell with him?
So I know
all this preamble aside.
it feels like it has been a long time since the Amazing Spider-Man movies.
Right.
But it actually hasn't. It's only been like what, 5 years?
Yes.
6 years? So I guess we would need to think about how much of that time has passed. That does mean that the things that happened in Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2 did also happen. So even if we don't validate and play up the Sinister Six that they alluded to, that does mean Oscorp happened. All of those things happened,
So
which means that Peter Parker's parents were
spies.
super scientists.
Oh no, yeah.
Were they actually was the spy part? So you showed me the deleted scene. I need to forget that.
Forget
Didn't happen.
it. Not canon. Not canon. We're going on
But
screen.
were they
only.
actually spies or were they just scientists that were on the run?
They were scientists on the run because of Norman, and Norman was creating some sort of under a government contract to. They were super scientists at the very least.
Yeah,
and not shield spies
who had access to secret subway stations.
Right. The Franklin Delano Roosevelt secret subway station, just to be clear.
Yes.
There's a lot of mess in that movie. But you're right. If we have to acknowledge that Spider-Man 2 happened, Oscorp exists, Harry's been locked away. He can just stay locked away.
He can.
Who's the villain to throw against? Is it Venom? Like, is it Venom versus Spider-Man? Is that a strong enough story? Because I don't particularly think so. To have Venom show up and say, "Hey, Spider-Man."
No, yeah. This at this point, after 2 movies, Tom Hardy's Venom he's not a villain.
He's a good guy.
He's a guy with well-meaning intentions. He's a human that doesn't want to eat people and do bad things, with a symbiote that which I pronounce as symbiote. I do not pronounce it with the N in there.
symbiote.
No, people. Oh, that's a
Symbiote.
I'm fine actually, even with somebody saying symbiote.
Yeah.
I understand it. The one I can't stand that is validated in dictionaries is symbiont.
With an N?
With an N in there.
Get out of here.
Yeah, and a lot of people say that.
You can leave.
Especially Venom fans. They say symbiont, and I want to
run it over with Jackson Wheel.
Yes. Yes, I do. It's a symbiote who is a violent and wants to eat people, but is willing to listen to its human host. So taking that into New York and having unless it's a mistaken identity kind of thing, like Eddie Brock shows up in New York and is trying to find Spider-Man, and in so doing fights some criminals, and Venom goes a little too hard and and it's caught on the news or something, like crazy monster eats some people.
Then Andrew Garfield
then shows up and he's like, "Hey, I got to stop you. I heard about you aliens."
But there's no longevity in that. That's not a sustainable story for 2 hours, right? That's not enough to be like, let me explain myself.
Right. Well, I mean, okay. So if that's the way we go, he says, "Let me explain myself," and he's not given a chance to. Right. So that's the first. We can get like a third to a half of a movie at least.
Okay.
Out of that.
Okay. So Venom shows up. Venom shows up in New York.
Sure.
Tussles with some guys. Takes it too far. Spider-Man shows up. Says, "Hey, gooey black villain.
Yeah.
I'm going to stop you. You can't stop me. I'm a good guy too."
Yeah. I want to talk. No time for talking. You got to go to jail.
Yeah.
I can't write Spider-Man quips. It's
they're called thwips.
What?
They're called thwips.
Oh, I see. I see what you did there.
Thank you. Yeah. This is me accepting your statement. I am
like the worst audience for you.
No, because when you do laugh, I feel good about it. Right. Hey, Eddie Brock, I need to lock you up for.
And then maybe the government shows up and they're like, "Don't worry, Spidey, we got him," and they take him away, and he's like, "Oh no!" And then Spidey finds out, wait, that wasn't like a proper government thing. It was a bad guy group, and I gotta go stop. I gotta rescue Venom. I don't like because that now we've taken Tom Hardy out of action that whole time. I don't know. So, that's my first thought on where to first go.
Separate symbiote from Eddie, and then Eddie goes to jail for this it's misconstrued. So then you have Eddie in jail with Toombs at the Vulture's there. And if whatever we choose to do with Morbius, I don't care right now. But at the very least, getting him in a prison scenario to meet other villains.
Okay. What? I'm sorry. Just with where I cut you off, I'm not into that. But I really should give you the chance to follow through.
And then they team up to destroy him. I don't know. Because then you do still have the Eddie in prison plot, and then Spider-Man maybe gets some of the symbiote, that's how I say it, on him, and that allows him to become the black suited Spider-Man, right?
Or they go to
or no, do we want to send Andrew Garfield to prison too? They capture Spider-Man and Venom and send them to prison together, and then it's a buddy movie where they have to bust out of jail. No, I don't like that.
No.
Okay.
If anything, right, Venom and Eddie Brock could be captured by some sort of antagonist, and then Venom manages to get away because he's a goo monster and he can do things like that. And he has to find Spider-Man, convince him to help him rescue Eddie Brock. Okay,
that's something. Where it's the symbiote attaching to Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man.
So we get a good 15 minutes to a half hour of Andrew Garfield as Black Suit Spider-Man
Right.
/
Yeah.
Venom.
And then they have to bust out Eddie Brock out of prison to give Eddie the symbiote back.
Mm-hmm.
And then Spider-Man and Venom team up to destroy Villain X.
That's a thought.
Okay, that's not bad. There's, especially with what Sony's given us so far with their
Mhm.
Venom movies, it's better than those two.
Oh, I mean,
look,
I want to give them a fair shake.
I don't mean
because
okay.
they're not off. They're
not bad.
to me, they are C movies.
They're
they're-
perfectly average.
Yeah.
1997's best. Venom and Venom 2. Let there be more Venom. Let there be red Venom.
I feel like Tom and Tom at Hardy Har Har Pictures really, really like these Venom movies. So
I'm
I
sorry,
don't want to.
No, I'm not. I'm having fun here because that first Venom movie is way better than it should have been. I remember sitting there going, I can't believe this is good. Like I didn't expect it to be. I didn't trust Sony.
I thought it was going to come out of the same dreck that Amazing Spider-Man 2 came out of.
Yeah, and it ended up being surprisingly fun.
Mm-hmm.
The second one, there better be a director's cut because it felt like they cut out so much just to get the movie over with.
Sure.
It felt like an episode of a Venom TV series as opposed to a feature film.
Mm-hmm.
So there's plenty of good in these movies to play off of. But much like No Way Home proved, get a good script in the right director's hands. These actors can thrive.
Mm-hmm.
Tom Hardy is great. Andrew Garfield is great. So I think Venom shows up, separate the symbiote from Venom. Symbiote finds Spider-Man, break Venom out to then go after the actual villain. Therein lies the question is, who's the villain in this? I can tell you who it can't be.
Who can't it be?
It can't be Green Goblin. We cannot do it in Osborn.
Not another Green Goblin.
No.
And I feel like it would be weird retconning if we made it any of the Sinister Six, because like, hey, where did you get those octopus tentacle arms?
Yeah.
Amazing. Spunk Otto Octavius.
Fedora guy. You know Fedora guy?
Classic Fedora guy.
So we have some spider villains that aren't really like top tier. The Alistair Smythe and the Spider Slayers, which is a lot of tech, super science, villain stuff, right? The Spider Slayers come in multiple forms, but basically come down to mechs trying to kill Spider-Man. You got someone like Hammerhead, right? He's got an adamantium head.
Really?
Yeah, he's a gangster, and he has an adamantium flat top. And he can run and like charge people.
Huh. Okay.
He's one of Kingpin's guys. Hammerhead over here. Chameleon. We saw Shocker in Homecoming, and we've already had Electro, so we don't want to go there. Black Cat hasn't shown up anywhere, but
that's what I was thinking. If because it's pretty standard now to have multiple villains for things, especially for a Spider-Man movie.
Yeah.
So what if right? Spider-Man has been on the trail of Black Cat when we first encounter him in this situation.
This is what Spider-Man's first starting plot is he's tracking down the cat burglar.
Yeah, before Venom like shows up and starts messing stuff up.
Venom ends up encountering what will be our big villain, or at least the minions of our big villain.
Sort of. Like, and one of the ways he gets
paths.
involved is I imagine a scene where Spider-Man is about to capture Black Cat, and then Venom shows up, be like, "Hey, I want to talk to you."
Hey,
and
Spider-Man,
like, and then
we
Black
need to
Cat,
talk.
like in the ensuing tussle, Black Cat gets away.
Sure. Like for the fun that can be had with at least what Venom's shown us, what we know Spider-Man could be, we have Spider-Man chasing Black Cat, and we have Venom in town trying to find Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
Venom mixes it up with just goons.
I don't.
Right?
Yeah, I don't.
But I'm saying that all this converges, like crashes in on each other.
Yeah.
So then, while Eddie is trying to tell Venom we need to stop goons, Spider-Man, Black Cat's getting away. Venom is like Venom wants to stop the goons. Eddie wants to talk to Spider-Man. Spider-Man's trying to chase Black Cat, annoyed by that. So it's a lot of like farce, like this and this and this, and that everything blows up at once.
Yeah.
Black Cat gets away, and now Eddie is trying to talk to Spider-Man when detainment happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By honestly, I don't know enough about the Spider Slayers, but that sounds pretty up the alley of this scenario.
Well,
I don't know what that was a weird idiom.
Smythe is hinted at. BJ Novak played him in Amazing Spider-Man 2. He works at Oscorp. I believe that's the character he plays.
Sure. They hinted at all these characters. That's right, because Felicia Hardy was actually even mentioned. She's Green Goblin's secretary.
It's Jyn Erso. It's Felicity
that's
Jones.
Her?
It's Felicity Jones. Yeah. What character do you? BJ Novak is at least in Amazing Spider-Man 2.
I mean, I guess we could make it more than just she's just a cat burglar. There could be an entire plot / subplot about
Alistair Smythe. Yep.
Oscorp getting sold for parts.
Oh, sure. Like Oscorp has been completely dismantled.
Mm-hmm. So now Felicia Hardy, aka Black Cat, is basically, because she knows sort of where everything went, because she was the right hand of the person who was in charge of everything until he got kicked out and
sent to prison.
Yeah.
For being a little goblin boy.
Yeah. So maybe she's trying to hunt down and get this tech, honestly, for her to resell on the black market, because her severance package was garbage.
She's essentially Catwoman in Spider-Man anyway. So just making her this thief who has her own means. What is her ultimate purpose in this, though? Like, what point does she serve other than this sort of side quest to get Spider-Man and
to have another villain?
Well, I don't want to make the mistake of previous movies by injecting far too many villains in here. I like her as a reoccurring minor character that we see throughout. Like if Peter has been trying to catch her and she keeps slipping out of his fingers under one circumstance or another, he can catch her in the end and they can have some sort of flirtation, which is what they've always had anyway, but there's no MJ or Gwen in the way. So we can root for Peter to he should be happy and have a new girlfriend, even if she's this thief. But if Smythe is still our main villain, does it come down to what are his motives? And does it come down to a boss battle of Venom and Spider-Man versus Spider Slayer?
Yeah. Short answer, yeah. Why is he doing it? Money and power. Who is he doing it through? Since Oscorp is no longer funding him, another organization. I figure what there would be is he would actually have sort of almost a public campaign, a la something like the Daily Bugle, saying, "Look, these people are a menace, and I have the answer to it. All of these spiders, that's what I'm in the business of extermination."
Nice. So Smythe is literally selling himself as a spider slayer.
Yeah.
Like, Spider-Man's a menace. I'll take him.
Part of it's because I don't know enough about this character, so I'm making stuff up. I don't know if that is.
He hates Spider-Man. He's an evil scientist that Spider-Man foiled one too many times. He goes through many incarnations. First, he creates robots that he controls. Mm-hmm. Eventually, puts himself in a suit to, Iron Man fight Spider-Man, and then he puts his entire intelligence into a robot. So he's no longer has a corporeal form. He's ones and zeros in a Spider Slayer suit. Okay. So he has multiple iterations of the Spider Slayer, but those are the basic three. Mm-hmm. Fighting drones, Iron Man style, MODOK style. No, was MODOK right? Was that? No.
Yeah, well, yeah. It's close. MODOK's just a big head.
Yeah. What am I thinking of? It's
Krang?
Yeah, sure. His intelligence is in a robot. Vision, whatever. I don't know.
No, you're thinking. Oh my gosh,
I'm totally blanking.
The computer guy from
Captain Winter America. Soldier. Yeah. Zola.
Yeah,
it's Zola. It's Zola. God damn it.
That took too
long. So I think that is a good, that very broad, but I think we have something here. If Smythe's whole thing is I'm here to stop the vigilantes, he's sort of self-appointed himself and he's public opinion approved. police approved, government approved to be like, stop the vigilantes. You have our permission to help the police stop the vigilantes, seemingly heroically stopping Spider-Man, stopping Venom, stopping Morbius, what have you, but really capturing them to then take their stuff, take their powers, and then enhance his Spider Slayers. Because then in the end, Spider-Man and Venom are going to have to fight a thing that can counteract what they can do, I guess. Well, it makes for a good final boss battle. And then Spider-Man and Venom team up to stop it.
To slay the Spider Slayer.
To slay the... Eddie!
Who slays the Slayer?
Who slays the Slayer?
That's...
Spider Slayer. Say it.
No.
I'm not going to say it. It's not cool. It's not a catchphrase that I feel comfortable doing. He's a very nervous guy.
He is.
Well,
yeah, that feels
okay.
Feels pretty good. I think
there's something there. What do you want? Let's take a break here. If you want to look up the Spider Slayers, see if it inspires anything else.
Well, actually, I don't think I don't know if the Spider Slayer would inspire anything else. It's more thinking of other Spider-Man villains that might be more fun.
Okay. Well, let's take a break here. Let's soak that in for a minute, and then when we come back, we will further the adventures of the Amazing Spider-Man. How's that sound? All right. We'll be right back, folks.
Welcome to our new podcast. Welcome to our new podcast.
This isn't working.
Agreed. I think we're going to have to do it turn by turn.
Well, now that you mention it, we are a brand new RPG video game podcast.
Our very existence hinges on turn-based gaming.
So join us on the Turn by Turn podcast, where we'll be talking about
Pokemon, Fire Emblem, Golden Sun, Shining Force, Mother, and so many more.
It's your turn to come and join us.
Hi there, I'm David.
And I'm Kate.
And we're the hosts of another Zelda podcast.
There are so many good podcasts out there, and some of them in particular concern The Legend of Zelda.
That's right, Kate, and we are another one of them. That is actually the name of our show, Another Zelda Podcast.
And in our show in particular, we talk about some of our favorite dungeons, characters, boss battles. We have top 10 lists.
Yeah, we do deep dives on game design and production aspects of the different Zelda games.
And we talk about our own experiences. We do some review episodes, talk about our challenges, our struggles, and our victories.
That's right. Really just almost anything that has to do with Zelda, we like to talk about it. A new episode comes out every other Friday, and you can subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and YouTube.
And you can also check out our episodes on our website, anotherzeldapodcast.com.
That's right. All right, we will see you there.
Okay, bye.
And we're back. Okay, I know I already recapped it previously, but I'm gonna recap it again.
Oh, okay.
We probably open with Venom first, heading to New York, like showing up in New York. Like he shows up looking for Spider-Man. He's returned from his trip through the multiverse, and he's just in New York looking for Spider-Man. Right?
Are we making a Venom 3 or a Spider-Man 3?
Well, that's why I wanted to recap this, because we're doing both, right?
If we're making a Spider-Man 3, I don't think we shouldn't follow Eddie Brock. We shouldn't follow Venom coming to New York.
Okay, then we open with Spider-Man chasing Black Cat.
Yeah.
And like even opening with Black Cat stealing some stuff, some tech. We get a hint at, like, we can get a glimpse at one of the vulture wings from Amazing Spider-Man 2 or whatever. And Peter showing up and me going like, no, I don't think that's yours. And then a little cute fight, and Spider-Man just trying to talk to her while he's just being fun Spider-Man, and even having some sort of, I've been doing this a long time now, and I've never seen a literal cat burglar before. Like if she has some sort of element to her costume, and then she leads him on a merry chase. And then meanwhile, down the streets, Eddie rolls into town. All right, we got to find Spider. Where do we find? Well, Spider-Man's always by crime. Let's find him there. They witness some sort of goons in a back alley scenario, and then head over there. Meanwhile, Spider-Man's still having fun with trying to capture Black Cat, their little cat and mouse game. She's being flirty. Oh, this is cute. her running towards the goons, Spider-Man landing with the goons, Venom is there about to stop the goons, and then everything collides at once.
Something like
and
that.
then Alistair Smythe's Spider Slayer show up to stop the madness. Felicia gets away. Venom is captured, right?
Mm-hmm.
Spider-Man gets away.
Okay.
That we've introduced all our characters.
Sure. I quickly looked up other villains.
Okay.
The other person who would fit this narrative we're going with of the city being wanting to get rid of all of these vigilantes and criminals, that would fit in there. Again, it's probably maybe too many elements at that point, is Kraven. Kraven would show up being like, I am the greatest hunter there ever was. I will hunt these.
I'm here to hunt the spiders.
People.
Or the vigilantes, yeah. I'm more, because you mentioned that the spunk seems to lean more towards the super science as opposed to magic, or I know there's aliens, of course, but it does feel like in this universe, the Spider Slayers are the better way to go.
Okay.
Tech hero, tech villain, right?
Sort of. I mean, with what we've already had, if we're wanting to redefine
The Amazing
what
Spider-Man.
it'll be, because if we also looking at that, Venom 2 introduced the notion, without saying it, the notion of mutants, people who have just natural powers.
Carnage's girlfriend, Shriek.
Not Heart, Shriek. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So yeah, sure. Certainly, there's other
So we can
abilities out there.
We can put stuff in there however we want.
I mean, I like Kraven. I like Kraven for Tom Holland. I don't particularly.
Well, yeah, we have a lot of pet
project
stuff
ideas for
Kraven in the
MCU.
but I think our pet ideas for that are getting further and further away.
That's fine. But let's look back at this specifically being Amazing Spider-Man 3, having Venom be the B plot, right? Getting into prison, having Eddie be upset, Venom trying to find Spider-Man. We need a Peter Parker storyline to be happening here. Aunt May is still alive. She was going to nursing school when we saw her in 2013.
She sure was.
And I'm here too. I helped. What's that old lady doing? There's the Stacy family that now Peter probably feels some sort of responsibility to, because he's responsible for Captain Stacy's death and Gwen's death. So maybe he has some sort of tertiary visitation, checking in on them.
Maybe.
That's, if we wanted to continue the series as it's written, there's always a possibility of one of Gwen's brothers being Hobgoblin in the future or something like that. But Jackson Wheel. But what's the Peter storyline here? Has he gone? Does he have a job? Do we introduce the Daily Bugle? Because we have a Spider-Man story.
Sure.
We've laid out a Spider-Man story that works all the way down to the final punch. But what's the Peter story? Because that's really one of the more critical parts of An Amazing Spider-Man. You had already referenced it before, his parents being super scientists.
Yeah.
I don't want to keep dealing with that. I don't like how Sony handled it.
What if it is? What if the whole thing is more about Pete getting back in the saddle, right? The whole the whole notion of he started throwing harder punches, so now he's back after a life-changing event, and he's like, no, I need to become
the friendly neighborhood,
a good guy, a really good guy again, and on top of that, I as Pete need to stop. I need to not sulking. That's the wrong word.
Pushing people away. I need to let people in.
It's time to heal, right?
Yeah.
Mourning is a part of healing, but like he needs to start getting back. I guess where I'm leading is what if it's a dating thing as well, right? And so then you do the whole. I realize it's just ripping off Batman and Catwoman. But what if he is dating Felicia Hardy?
Yes, no. I'm going to say I like where you're going.
It's pretty
here.
classic. Anytime you have, right, like a cat burglar type story where there's alternate identities, that's almost always, whether it's a superhero story or just a heist movie, like there's always that situation.
How about this? Mary Jane's scenes were filmed for The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Shailene Woodley was cast. They cut all her scenes. She's not in it. We could introduce Mary Jane. It could be her again if you want. It could be someone who is that Peter is interested in, who's very clear with him about like, hey, I understand your previous girlfriend died. How many girls have you dated since her? Well, you're the first girl I've gone on a date with. It's like, okay, well, that's a problem. I would love to keep hanging out with you, but you need to see more people. So she's almost encouraged, like almost playing the friend role of like, get out there more, see some more girls. Because as Spider-Man, he keeps mixing it up with Sexy Black Cat. So then having conversations with Mary Jane where she's like, so have you seen anyone recently? Yeah. She's a little wild for my taste, but I feel like we have a good repartee. Right. So I don't know, like that gets a friendship in there that isn't inherently romantic, but we know full well what the future of Mary Jane is. Aunt May could just as easily fill this role of like, get out there, Peter, see more girls. Oh shit. You know what? We could do this. Yeah. The original gag of Mary Jane was Aunt May constantly trying to set Peter up. Yeah.
And Mary Jane shows up
and she's hot.
You hit the jackpot, Tiger.
Right. Like for like 15 years of Spider-Man's existence, Aunt May was constantly like, oh, you need to meet my friend's daughter. She's so pretty, Peter. This was Aunt May in her original form. And he's like, oh, okay, Aunt May, whatever you say. Oh, Peter, you should finally get back out there, get in the saddle again. And then he meets Mary Jane and she's a freaking supermodel. It's like, oh, face it, Tiger, just hit the jackpot. Yeah. So I like the idea of Peter getting out there and like trying to put himself out there, trying to get a job. The first Spider-Man does a pretty good job of like Betty Brant's in that. That's Elizabeth Banks plays her at the Daily Bugle, and he like sort of flirts with her. You have a Russian daughter girl from Spider-Man 3 that gives him cake. I like the idea of Peter trying to put himself out there and become more Peter again.
Right. Well, since he does still have Aunt May, that means he technically still has a place to live. So it's not about necessarily like what if that's what it is? Like, okay, I need to I need to move out on my own. I need to try doing all these things, and we can have that entire thread of Aunt May trying to set him up. Peter, and he's like, I'm busy, right? Like I got all these things going on. Well, you need to meet a nice girl. I think I have, and so and he's referring to Black Cat, because you do the whole like I need to stop you because you're doing crime, but you are very alluring, type thing. Yeah. I don't. Does that work? Is that fun?
Yeah, I think so. I would love to add a bit of a. You had mentioned that he doesn't have to live with Aunt May, but he constantly has to. If over the course of this movie he gets kicked out of like 4 apartments, so that we constantly see him moving back in. I was
thinking he starts with Aunt May, and the movie the Peter arc is him trying to strike out on his own, trying to get. So then we watch this character go through all of the woes of living in New York. Oh, my apartment's so small, and the rent is so high.
I'm suggesting a gag of him failing to pay his rent constantly, so he gets evicted multiple times, where he's like at the beginning he's evicted from his place, so then he has to go back to Aunt May, and she's like, well, maybe if you met a nice girl, you could move in with her and have a nice place. This is temporary. I'm going to find a place. Over the next couple days, he finds another place.
And then he gets kicked out for whatever reason.
Building gets blown up.
Or like he gets evicted because his apartment gets trashed because Venom shows up.
Right. And then back to Aunt May, and she's like, what happened to the new place? And he moves his boxes like 4 times in the movie.
That could be fun.
It's just a fun little like reoccurring gag in this. And trying to get a job. I'm gonna say it.
Don't say it.
I'm gonna say it.
Don't say it.
Can I say it? You don't even know what I'm going to say.
Say it.
J. Jonah Jameson could be J.K. Simmons in this, and he could go work at the Bugle.
Yeah, I
knew that's what you
were going to say.
Did you think that's what I was going to say?
Yes, I thought that's what you were going to say.
What did you think I was going to say?
Actually, I didn't think you were going to include Simmons.
What did you think I was going to say?
I thought you were going to say he could go work at the Daily Bugle. I didn't think you were going to include J.K. Simmons.
Why
Makes
not?
sense that you would say that. Here's why not.
A third version of J. Jonah Jameson.
because that's too many versions.
Enter the Jameson verse, Jim.
Honestly,
enter the Jameson verse with me.
Sony will approve that.
Yes, thank you.
Because it gets them closer to looking like the
Studio
MCU.
demands it, especially if he gets to play a third version of this character.
My only problem with that is, right, we started, actually I think it was before the episode, this evening, we started talking about how audiences traditionally have gotten confused by where does Batman begin line up with the Batman 1989?
Yeah.
And where did Jyn Erso, isn't that just Rey
Is Rey's
from
mom?
Force Awakens? What's no, not even. People
No,
thought
that was
Jyn
Rey,
Erso
yeah.
was Rey.
Okay. So
that would be like that would be like, why is that the same guy? I mean, they're already going to do that in Morbius with Michael Keaton
what if
showing up
it's the yellow M&M?
with the mustache.
Give me pictures of Spider-Man. Fun fact, if people didn't know, J.K. Simmons is the voice of the yellow M&M.
Yes.
And he has been for like 20 years.
Yeah.
Well, okay, getting
That could be fun. Okay, fine, TC.
Yes.
Answer this
I
question.
got it. Riddle me this.
What is the new iteration of J. Jonah Jameson?
What's a third version of...
Do the work.
Okay. So the original J. Jonah Jameson, we have J.K. Simmons in the Toby version, is the newspaper version.
Yep.
Print is
Classic
dead.
newspaper.
Print is
man.
dead. We have the Alex Jones conspiracy nut
Internet
version
guy.
Yeah.
Beyond internet, like he's also like that's obviously cable because his show is streamed on a big screen in New
Times
York.
Square.
Yeah.
So he's that. What about a Tom Brokaw, like legitimate newscaster, like respectable late night news host? Not a nutcase, but a respectable. Brian Williams isn't respectable anymore because he tarnished his name, but like a Brian Williams late night, not angry.
Like wait, you mean like
Peter Jennings, Tom Brokaw,
Peter, yeah.
But then when like on screen, he's like, "Good night, America. This has been J. Jonah Jameson." But when the camera's cut, he's just like, "We'll do it live." Shit, where is it? You know, like that's the raging version of J. Jonah Jameson. Yeah. We're spending 10 minutes on this.
I don't think I could be wrong. I don't think that's different enough from the Alex Jones.
You put me on the spot. I'm the one who said do a third version.
Yeah.
I guess he's a podcaster. There we go. Just getting Peter the adventures of a job. I think that could give us a little more, but you know, the mistake of Amazing Spider-Man 2 is that there's too many plots. So maybe we don't need, maybe just him getting evicted is enough of the Peter stuff. Him trying to date is enough of the Peter stuff.
What would Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man do for a job?
Well, he is a photographer in the first one. In Amazing Spider-Man, he has his dad, like his old camera. It's a film camera. He takes pictures for the school paper. So
he does lean into the photography.
He is a photographer, yeah. In this Amazing Spider-Man 2, he never picks up a camera. And Tom Holland Spider-Man, we've never seen do anything more than do Instagram videos.
Okay.
But Andrew Garfield has shown...
Make him a photographer. Yeah. Just do the classic Spider-Man. He takes pictures of these things for the news. It can be the Daily Bugle.
Aunt May does say, I think in the Amazing Spider-Man 2, that Peter has been making some scratch money on the side by providing photo. Oh yeah, because Harry even points at a Daily Bugle and says, "You take Spider-Man's picture."
So clearly, he's already making money doing that.
Yeah,
that's his job.
Yeah,
question answered. And you don't have to worry about job.
There we go.
Just got to worry about apartment.
There we go. And Aunt May says that mean man who runs the Daily Bugle needs to pay you more.
Mm-hmm.
And Mark Webb at the time said he was not going to try to cast anyone to be J. Jonah Jameson because no one could do what J.K. Simmons did.
Yeah.
So just make it J.K. Simmons.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So while Peter's trying to balance his love life and his living situation, he's going up against spider slayers who are hunting him down and literally fighting him till they can experiment on him kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so Peter's trying to figure out, and the Venom eventually finds him as well to say, like, you know, Eddie is a victim. this dude is doing experiments on me. I escaped from him.
That's a part
Help
of
me,
why.
Spider-Man.
That's a part of why I was going to suggest throwing Craven in there as well. Was to have a sort of attacks on all sides.
I'm willing to do this. I'll go this far. If Smythe is the mastermind villain that's orchestrating all this, he's got his Spider Jones and whatnot. The head of his security is Craven, not some hunter who came from Russia, but just a version of Craven who is a physical, I can punch you in the face threat, and I'm not a robot. The thing is, I think you're throwing too many villains in. But if you are trying to convince me to have Craven in here, he needs to be in league with. Or unless you're saying,
that's fine. To me, that doesn't feel like I don't feel like we're pushing Spider-Man to the edge. That's all. I like. I think he can handle a nervous reporter, and a cat burglar pseudo girlfriend
versus Spider Slayers. And the Spider Slayers aren't just trying to capture these villains or these vigilantes. They're capturing them. Smythe is capturing them and literally stripping them of their abilities. He is ripping their powers directly out of them.
Well, I mean, we actually need to introduce minor characters to see that happen.
Yeah. So we
need
can
to have other characters that get captured by Spider Slayer.
Yeah. Having people with mutant-esque abilities, whether they're named characters or not, and capturing the symbiote and the symbiote witnessing this happening so that the symbiote busts out to go get Spider-Man to say, you got to help me break Eddie out and stop the bad guy.
Oh, which is pretty much what the villain in the first Venom was doing. Interesting. I don't know if that's good or bad.
We can bring back Riz.
That we're repeating.
We'll bring back Riz Ahmed.
No, he's gone.
Dead. He's dead. Venom ate him.
He's gone.
Yeah, I don't know if we have a strong enough movie here to be like, for me to be like, yeah, we got this. But I think we have enough beats here for me that we could beat this out really well.
Yeah, you're right. Having Craven be a part of Smythe's security or somehow related to what he's doing so that they're on the same side does fit the previous Amazing Spider-Man movies. I guess the reason, like, I'm imagining scenes where even the villains in trying to get Spider-Man step on each other's toes, and that's why Spider-Man is able to get away. And I'm imagining scenes like that, and I like things like that. And we don't actually get movies where that happens.
Well, the difficulty comes into, okay, you fight Electro till he's beaten, and then you fight the Green Goblin, right? When I point to Amazing Spider-Man 2. It's a cliche in sequel movies to cram too many villains in. Spider-Man 3, you got Sandman, you got Green Goblin, you got Venom. Like there's too many villains, and I don't want this to come into like be that either. And I think if you're suggesting not Alistair Smythe, not the Spider Slayers, and just Kraven the Hunter, I'm willing to go there. But then I don't think Kraven is enough of a threat to Spider-Man.
Well, then I think you're underestimating Kraven.
Kraven is a master hunter, but he doesn't have superpowers. Alistair Smythe and the Spider Slayers give us big mech suits that can rip arms off of people.
It's visual. That's more visually appealing. You're right. Which is honestly, if anything, I'm going to take what you just said and use that as a little bit of evidence for why we could put Kraven in there, no problem. Because he's just a hunter.
So he's
not interfering. No, it's fine.
I'll challenge you back.
That's fine.
You now tell me all the characters in this movie if Kraven's in here as well. So Spider-Man's in the movie.
Yeah, Spider-Man, Venom, Black Cat, Spider Slayer, and Kraven.
And Kraven, right? That's that. You don't think that's too bulky?
No.
What
you have a hero,
yeah.
You have his love interest, you have his sidekick,
yeah,
and
Venom is his sidekick.
Two competing villains.
Venom is okay. All right. Well, when you put it that way, you're disproving my feelings. Are Smythe and Kraven in league?
And the thing is, yes, Venom and Tom Hardy are as big of movie stars and characters as Spider-Man, but this is Spider-Man's movie.
Sure. Yes. Yeah. You Smythe and the Spider Slayers and Hunter and Kraven the Hunter in league together, or
No, they are competing.
they're competing against each other?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm coming more on board for this. If I don't want to see Kraven in his stupid lion costume. That I don't think that's going to translate to screen like it would as a cartoon.
All right, I'll give concessions there.
Who is Kraven working for? Is he an independent contractor? Is he the Punisher essentially? Who's just taking it
Sort
upon
of.
himself?
Yeah.
Or okay, I'm gonna.
If anything, what we could introduce is we could basically introduce, and it's the reason why the Spider Slayer gets involved in a legal capacity. They're not deputized. They're not made law enforcement. They're essentially bounties, if you will, are put out for these vigilantes as they become named. Bring in the Spider-Man and you'll get this reward. Bring in the weird black goo alien thing and you'll get this reward, and so forth.
Okay.
And so Kraven's like, this is my thing. No one get in my way, or I'm going to take you out of my way.
He's a
Spider Slayer.
He even has his legal bounty hunter's license. Like
Something like that.
he's not some vigilante. He's Dog the Bounty Hunter. Sans mullet.
Or with it.
Okay, fine.
I mean, you're taking away the lion costume.
I'm fine. I believe the mullet. The mullet and the handlebar mustache. Here we go. Okay. If it's, I think you're onto something there. That now he's dealing with Kraven hunting him in the midst of fighting robots. He also has to fight a maniac who wants to punch him.
Mm-hmm.
I could see that that's a juggling act that would have to be handled well.
Sure.
But I don't think it's impossible.
And the thing is, so the arcs for those characters, one of the is basically because they're working against each other for the first portions of the film. At the end, maybe even during the third act, they're like, you know what? We'll get these guys if we work together.
Is this Kraven and Alistair? Okay.
Yeah. And so then we get to see them team up. Because like you said, previous movies, it's always fight one villain and then the other.
But if they're working in tandem.
Yeah.
Okay.
It could be like, okay, my robots will go in there and distract
Venom,
and then you take the shot from the building across the street, or something like that.
Sure. Okay. I'm more on board now. I'm getting on board here.
Maybe I'm misremembering all the movies we've seen, but like that is a disappointing thing whenever they do try to raise the stakes of more villains. The villains rarely they rarely work tag team like that. It's always one is a minion of another, so then it is what you said. This fight, you're just a mini boss to what will then be the boss fight, right? Battle, like Electro was made the mini boss to the Goblin boss fight.
And I suppose by having Spider-Man with his sidekick Venom, Venom's enough of a hero that he needs a boss battle too. There needs to be two boss battles. I was imagining just they're fighting a bunch of Spider Slayers, but you create more visual variety by having Kraven and Spider Slayer.
Pair off.
Yeah. Okay. You sold it. You sold me on it.
One more day.
Okay. The Amazing Spider-Man 3 has this. And you know what this almost goes to why Batman Begins was such a neat kickoff to a franchise. By using Scarecrow and Ra's al Ghul, not any of the well-known villains, to use Spider Slayers and Kraven. Kraven is a little higher on this list, and we will probably see him within the next 10 years, next 5 years maybe. But by pitching the Amazing Spider-Man 3 with robot mech spider hunting monster, like almost Iron Man-esque, right? And hand-to-hand combat Hunter Man, like, okay, yeah, you got me. I'm with, okay. I can even see the poster of this. Like, there's enough variety here. Even like color schemes work in this, right? Like if Venom is black and blue, Spider-Man is red, more red than blue. Kraven is a gold, and the Spider Slayers are violet or green, and
sure,
yeah. There's okay, you did it. Yeah, okay. There you go. Amazing Spider-Man 3, folks. Do we want to hint at any bigger picture here? because we're already combining some franchises here. The only thing I'd ask that is that does this Spider-Man, does Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man, now knowing that there's other Peters out there, is he going to assume that in his world there might be some things to, like, maybe he's like, I wonder if there's a Daredevil here. I wonder if there's a Dr. Octopus here. I wonder if there's...
Well, that was going to be the other way. Like, if this wasn't going to work, doing Kraven and Spider Slayer, I was instead going to say, what if we do lean into referencing No Way Home? He comes back and we put in like a Sandman.
Mhm.
And this Sandman's totally different, works in a totally different way.
Right.
Like maybe it's a dude in a suit.
Well, and technically there's...
But he could even be like, hey, didn't we meet?
Yeah.
Don't I
know you?
No.
There is a possibility to do this because Toomes exists in this universe. We know that through Morbius. So there is a chance of the Vulture showing up,
Sure.
right? Maybe we don't.
Do we know that that's the Vulture?
No, we don't know this yet. We don't know.
We just know Michael Keaton is in the movie.
Yes, that's all we know.
It could actually just be a really cheeky Batman reference.
Gross. It's all signs point to it being Adrian Toomes.
Yeah.
But not for this movie, not the Venom and Spider-Man, Kraven.
If I were to do Vulture, I have a feeling Sam Raimi's was going to lean more this way. I would do the super scientist who's trying to manufacture a fountain of youth type thing.
Sure.
And messes it up so he's all cranky and old.
I would be willing to drop into like a post-credit scene, the Vulture wings.
Now that we're talking about that, actually, I would want to do a post-credit sequence, or maybe just a final sequence, where Paul Giamatti shows up again with an enhanced Rhino suit.
Thank you again.
You think you can stop me?
Yeah,
that was a terrible Russian accent. But,
here we go again.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Because Rhino is a villain I wouldn't mind seeing. He's a very straightforward villain, but one that just a rhinoceros machine that was in there.
I would love to
really
see reoccurring rhinoceros reference, like having.
But like every time the suit, the machine
is different.
Gets. Well, I was going to say sleeker.
Sure,
right? Like he becomes more and more of the Rhino that we recognize, rather than just. I'm a crazy little guy inside of a rhinoceros.
Come on. You're going to die. All right. Cool. Maybe some sort of post-credits with the Rhino, or post-credits with some other reference to Vulture or a Dr. Octavius or a Matt Murdock or some other... Well, no, because like whatever Sony has access to, we could have a reference to that. No more super scientist parents. I'm done with that. I don't want to see any more of that.
I feel like if we need to come back to it.
If we're gonna come back to it, then Chameleon can be involved, and we can do like a spy. Like we can have a Mission Impossible Spider-Man. Like
that sounds good. Ooh, and the chameleon shows up as his dad, and so he thinks his dad is back, but it's just someone using his face.
The chameleon. We'll do a chameleon. In Spider-Man 4, it's more Mission Impossible spy. We'll go abroad, much like Far From Home did.
Ooh, do we do like a combination? So he's having to deal with imposter dad, while at the same time we do a man spider plot.
Ooh.
No.
No.
Okay. No, don't like that. Okay.
I mean, it's super science. It's super science. That's Spider-Man 4. We'll come back for Amazing Spider-Man 4.
Okay.
We
spent more time on that one than I intended.
No,
I wanted to talk about the MCU here.
I'm perfectly happy to make this entire episode be the demand of Mika, which was to do an Amazing Spider-Man 3, which is what we came up with here. I like this. I think we could pull this off.
It was a good time.
But I do want to touch on Tom and Tom's demand from Hardy Har Har, which was Venom in the MCU. Now he did say he liked Tom Hardy. Tom Hardy is in the Spunk.
So, very definitely, right? So spoilers. He shows up in the MCU,
right,
and at the end
goes back,
is sent back.
Yeah, but he leaves a bit of symbiote behind.
Which
I know you want to get.
Of course, I want to
get pedantic.
How? Why did that bit get left behind?
So the movie can happen.
That's the only reason, right? And you said earlier I can't have that for. So we need to. I'm sure they will justify it. No, actually they won't. They're just going to say, "Oh, it
just stay behind." You're saying that when he got zapped back, everything
would have, because everything did.
Yeah,
he was gajillions of miles away.
Yeah.
No one knew he was here. And yet the spell worked on sending him back.
Yeah.
So thinking about it, the only reason Strange needed Peter to collect all the people was just so they'd stop causing trouble, not because he actually had to have them there for the spell.
Right. Because he got that's assuming Doctor Strange's spell is what sent. Because
they hit the button, and the glowy thing that deleted everyone is what deleted Eddie Brock.
Well, regardless, he left a little bit of symbiote behind.
Yes.
Now, the demand does say we can keep using Tom Hardy. Let's ignore that for the moment here and just discuss that symbiote existing now in Tom Holland's in the MCU proper.
Sure.
What is Tom Holland's Venom? Right. That's the traditional story.
That little bit of Venom would still have Venom's intelligence, so it would still remember Spider-Man.
Seek out
Spider-Man. So I feel like we would get a good Spider-Man 3 dance sequence.
The classic story is the symbiote finds Spider-Man, corrupts him until Spider-Man gets rid of him, and now the symbiote is pissed, finds Eddie Brock, who also hates Spider-Man, and that combined hatred creates Venom.
Sure.
That's the traditional
hasn't had
story.
Eddie Brock. So I'm going to get some ideas that Venom fans are probably going to hate out right away.
Flash.
Yep.
Yeah. Flash.
Just go straight to Flash. Flash gets Venom. Eventually, right? I like the idea of the symbiote seeking out Peter Parker. They hang out for a little while, and Tom Holland is like, "This is a bad idea.
You're mean."
Yeah.
I won't become this. I reject you.
The only other reason I'd want to hold on to it for much longer than that is it would be awesome to recreate the first appearance of Spider-Man, because he had the black suit originally, didn't he?
No, that didn't come around until the Secret Wars.
Oh, really? Yeah. For whatever reason, I thought he went to the Baxter Building in it.
In the original,
maybe not.
The black suit didn't come around until the Secret Wars.
Well, then never mind. Then we don't have to do that, and I can still have my Baxter Building appearance some other time.
You're Fantastic Four Baxter Building.
Yes.
Getting into Flash though is a fun idea because Flash still loves Spider-Man.
He loves Spider-Man. I feel like he would get the power, and then he'd be like, "Hey, Spider-Man, I got powers too. Let's hang out." Together. And then he'd be like,
"No," because
he knows it's Flash. He's like, "No, I'm not doing this." And then he'd get mad at him. Flash would get mad. He'd be like, "Oh, you're too good for me? Well, guess what? No, I'm too good for you.
No, I will destroy.
I go off and
I'm a better hero than you are.
Yeah,
I can do better heroic. I'm more heroic. Oh God, I just bashed this guy's face in. Oops. I'm not more heroic. I'm more violent. There's an interesting subplot with Flash in Far From Home. It's only done through text messages and like one or two small lines of dialogue from Flash. He comes from a wealthy family.
Yep.
His dad ignores him.
Yep.
His mom is the only one he's able to communicate with, and neither of them show up to pick him up when he comes back from Europe. The European vacation that had their lives at risk. He's just picked up by Jeeves, the limo driver. And he's like, "Mother couldn't come." And like, so there's a sad thing happening with Flash. I saw an interesting fan theory that Flash would essentially be like the MCU Flash would be the Harry Osborn equivalent. Sure. That he's a spoiled kid who wants to be like, that he would become a villain like a Green Goblin. But if it's Rich Flash becomes Venom, is that enough of a threat to Spider-Man? Like, is that enough? Like, he has man-eating space alien powers. True. Yes. I forget that this Venom does like to eat people.
Well, even the comic book Venom liked to eat people.
Yeah.
Maybe not while Peter Parker was possessing it, but Venom likes to eat the purse snatchers.
I don't know if Venom. I don't particularly think Venom is a strong enough threat to Peter to make a whole movie around. Right? Like if Tom Holland is going to have, we're going to get 3 more
Sam
Spider-Man.
Raimi agreed with you.
Yeah. But I also don't like the idea of Venom being this like second banana to another villain, because Venom is a big enough personality, but it really just comes down to one of the tropes of the MCU, which is superhero versus supervillain, a power set equivalent.
Yeah.
Right. And that's just not interesting enough to me.
No.
So do you do an entire Spider-Man, Tom Holland MCU Spider-Man versus a Venom? And if so, if it's Flash at first, I think a big
really
just make
we're just making a MCU version version of Swim Fan at that point.
Swim Fan, not the fan.
No,
not the acclaimed Robert De Niro, Wesley Snipes movie.
No,
The Fan.
Yeah,
Swim Fan.
Yeah,
with Jesse Bradford and Erica Christensen.
You heard me.
Good God. Is that a fun and exciting and blockbustery enough Spider-Man movie? I don't think so.
We could eventually polish it to be there, but even then though it won't feel in the same vein as the Spider-Man movies we've gotten. The Spider-Man movies we've gotten have been they're
blockbusters. They're popcorn explosive fun.
But more specifically in their tone, they've been like I'm forgetting the name of the filmmaker, the 80s teen
John Hughes.
Yes. They've been John Hughes movies. They've been as you told me, Tom Holland looked at Back to the Future and Ferris Bueller to model the way he portrayed Peter Parker. The movies have that tone. They have a lighter tone, and so having the fourth movie be The Fan,
commit, man,
feels out of left field.
Okay. You bringing up John Hughes, bringing up that Tom Holland has drawn inspiration from John Hughes and Marty McFly and Ferris Bueller. If the Peter Parker plot is him trying to reconnect with MJ and Ned and trying to find, well, does he want to? That's the trick. I'll get the idea out there and we'll see if we can build off this.
I think the subplot involving them, I think they would figure out who he is and find him. He doesn't want to endanger their lives again. He wants to stay away, and keep his friends safe.
Yes. So getting them to track him down, figure that out, have dreamlike memories of Peter Parker and reconnect with him, much to his dismay, but then accepting he misses his friends, he does want to be with them again, and having a museum day, a day in Chicago, right? Like the Ferris Bueller. That would infuriate Flash to be like, well, why wasn't I invited? Why I'm pissed off that jealousy would just fuel the anger. And now Venom has Spider-Man to attack, but what's the best way to attack a hero, Osborn? The heart. So going after MJ, going after Ned, which is exactly what Peter doesn't want to happen.
Sure.
Raises the stakes for him personally. Like, this is exactly what I was trying to avoid. This is why I didn't want to be friends with you anymore. I couldn't be friends with you anymore. I love you too. Yeah. I don't want anything happening. This is happening. There's a crazy psycho Swim Fan coming after me. And it's Flash, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay. There's some personal stakes there. Each movie has gotten bigger. To go from the backyard friendly neighborhood Spider-Man from Homecoming to the globetrotting international, to the saving the multiverse. Maybe I jokingly said the Mission Impossible for Andrew Garfield, like the spy work type movie of Amazing Spider-Man 4. What is Peter doing?
Well, the other thing, without knowing where they're planning on going with the MCU, is the way each Spider-Man movie has gone has also tied in some way to where the rest of it's going. Clearly, this tied into the multiverse stuff. but it brought in Stephen Strange and referenced the Avengers things. Everything Marvel has been laying out suggests like 2 or 3 different possible things they're doing with the Avengers, right? Like Dark Avengers, Young Avengers.
Yep.
At one point, Spider-Man was he was an Avenger in the MCU, but in the comics, he was a larger part of the Avengers. Like I think he led it.
Bendis' run at the very least, he was in New Avengers with Wolverine, and
so there could be something in this that this is like definitely a Spider-Man movie, but we bring in another Avengers character.
Right. You're right. Each one of these MCU Spider-Man movies has had someone else from the MCU to sort of support the plot.
Iron Man, Nick Fury, and then Strange.
Yeah. So, okay. Oh boy, Agent Venom, Falcon and Winter Soldier. I don't want to use Nick Fury again.
Sure,
but the Falcon or Captain America and Winter Soldier being the spy work element, they don't lend themselves to aliens though.
Are there any aliens we like any other space people?
Captain Marvel.
Captain Marvel as the mentor assist
to Spider-Man.
Doesn't feel quite like the right scale.
Okay, well then you know who's.
But the thing is, Thor isn't right either.
There's another group in space that loves Earth.
They do. I guess we'll see what they do with
the Guardians.
With Part 3.
Yeah. Peter Quill.
But the weird thing is, like, that's a team, and would having a whole team show up work?
This is a whole different conversation about what to do with the Guardians of the Galaxy. But
that's true.
You could have Rocket. You could have. You could have Peter. You could have Nebula. Like you could have just one of them being on Earth for some visiting. They're literally chasing a symbiote, right? You could have Nova show up. Like you could have one of the Eternals be dealing with. If the symbiote somehow matches a deviant, right? Then you have a reason to bring in Kingo and have Tom Holland and Kumail Nanjiani working together.
Oh, that's. Now that you said that, I want to see it.
There we go. If the symbiote attached to Flash and being the destructive hero turned villain that Venom is, that could, you could bring in an Eternal. And Kumail Nanjiani's the best option because I don't think anyone else would be able to go to just fold immediately into the good nature of Tom Holland Spider-Man.
Yeah, Kumail Nanjiani would work.
I'm gonna stop spitballing this and now pitch it as what we should do. Okay, so the Venom as the symbiote attaches himself to Spider-Man. Spider-Man rejects him because Kingo shows up. Maybe we could add a second Eternal to show up and be like, Venom is basically, we're detecting him as some sort of deviant and we're stopping aliens on Earth. Shoo. Spider-Man, get rid of this thing. Symbiote goes away, finds Flash, comes back bigger and stronger, and now immune to Spider-Sense. And now Peter has to work with the Eternals to track down other symbiote-like alien villains.
And we can shore up the Eternals.
There you go. Well, we've discussed that the best use for the Eternals at this point is to scatter them to the wind and just use them where they're most.
I don't think we haven't discussed that on mic.
Okay. Well, off mic, we have discussed that the Eternals' best way to use them from this point on is to scatter them around. Mm-hmm. Hell, even I would even go so far as to be like, if Peter doing his Spider-Man thing, face off against the symbiote, bringing Sprite in. Sprite isn't an Eternal anymore. She's going to age. She's perfectly human. But having her be the initial point of contact to then bring Kingo in. Sure. Now you have two Eternals, a young girl to go to be a friend of Peter. Yeah. Even though I know she's hundreds of years old, thousands of years.
And she doesn't want to be a kid anymore.
Yeah. And she'll age up. It's fine because she even complained she had to go to school, right? Yeah. So going to school with Peter Parker, if he's going to be going to college. We got something here. This is happening. I think this is happening. If the symbiote's the threat, if Flash is the villain, if there's other alien threats to go up to like pick off one by one, right?
Okay.
Hell, we could do the symbiote wars. If Venom is just like, fine, Spider-Man, you reject me, I'm splitting myself into like 15 different
And we
pieces.
get Carnage again.
Well, screw Carnage. You can have the blue one.
Carnage fans will be all about that.
Yay, more Carnage. But yeah, I think Kingo's a good choice. What do you think?
It's okay.
Yeah.
I think it's a great choice because of the actor.
Yes, exactly.
Not because the world fits that, right? Like, why wouldn't they be able to tell that other aliens aren't deviants?
Well,
They
maybe it's
should
not
be
that.
able to, but
Maybe it's not a deviant.
yeah.
They're like, we know it's like if we start Sprite being like, I know that's not a deviant, but it's an alien threat, and I'm done just deciding to stay out of it because one type of alien isn't involved. I am now willing to fight any alien I see fit.
Sure.
Fortunately, I don't have any powers anymore. Help me, Spider-Man.
I need to get my finger gun friend.
Pew, pew, pew. Right? He's in town shooting a movie.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
He could even
could
have
work.
like talk about like the special effects that Quentin Beck created, which were great. Like, I know you and Mysterio have a whole history, but the visual effects that he created,
Yeah.
wow. Just amazing stuff. I know, again, yes, I understand it was very, very devastating, but wow. Good for my career.
Good for my career. I like that. Yeah, I think so. I'm scrambling to think of anyone else, and I think it involves us involving. It would take too much fabrication to get someone else.
Because you're right. Like, the Guardians don't work. Peter isn't suited to be on Earth anymore. He's been out in space thinking it's the 80s for too long. He's got
If anything, Peter Parker would end up teaching him.
Yeah, Peter's more mature than Peter Quill. Like, Peter Parker's more.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Rocket being the only other one I'd say.
Thor isn't really on his sabbatical anymore. If Thor was still depressed Thor, that might work. But he's not. So that's not a direction to go.
Yeah. Right, because the symbiote brings itself space entities, and who better to fight space entities than the people who've been fighting them on Earth for thousands of years? And I
guess technically Nick Fury was a Skrull, so he technically encountered an alien.
He was with Talos. He just didn't know. When I think about the Eternals, I feel like Kamal Nanjiani was underutilized.
Yep.
I feel bad that he didn't do a shirtless scene after all his hard work. And I liked Sprite as it was a great choice to do that with the actress because she's so young to begin with, and she's going to grow, like, age. So why not?
Yeah.
Oh, we're literally stripping you of your Eternals ability. You are going to age.
Yeah.
So, like, naturally they can continue to use the actress without having to, like, fabricate some reason why she looks older.
I don't know enough about the Black Knight to somehow justify why he would be in New York.
Yeah, Black Knight, his place in fighting vampires with Blade is the right way to go with him. He's not a fighting aliens kind of guy.
Okay.
I don't know enough about him as well, but just from what little I do know, he's better suited to be hanging out with Blade and actually Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
Yeah. There we go. Okay, cool. So I mean, that was a quick little hit of getting the MCU. But as far as both those Spider-Man movies, I like both of those. Huh. We'll call this the Amazing Spider-Man 3 episode, but we snuck both demands in here.
We did.
Yeah. No, you're settling.
Okay.
I see your mind's a turning right now as I'm leading to the wrap up here.
Swim fan the movie.
Swim fan
The Spider-Man.
Spider
fan.
So Joe
Spider fan.
Joe, Tom, Mika, I hope that this satisfied. Now, again, I'll say to Joe, I'm sure you loved No Way Home because your demand came in 2 years ago. So you got what you asked for. But to the rest, let us know if we got it. I think we can end the episode here, and I'd love to know if we did meet those demands because I do feel we did. Actually, back up before I just say that. Mika's demand, no, not Mika. Tom's demand did love Tom Hardy.
Yeah,
like Tom Hardy's perfect casting, so maintain his presence.
Oh, well, we did that with Amazing Spider.
Yes.
Well, but they wanted it in the MCU.
Yeah. So I don't. I'm sorry to say this.
It's sort of
I don't want to meet that demand. I don't want to
because what it would involve is it would require us to basically fast forward redo Venom 1 in the MCU.
Yeah, and I don't want to do that.
Um,
So I know I'm actually willingly going. But I'm going to make an argument to Tom that hey, listen,
are we telling a studio no?
I'm going to tell the studio no, Jim, and I need your support on this, Tom. We're giving you Tom Hardy's Venom with a Spider-Man, and we're giving you a Venom in the MCU. We're giving you 2 Venoms, so it's 2 for the price of 1 here. You're gonna get twice as much money. You still get Tom Hardy, but you also get Venom in the MCU. So unless the studio says nay and that we have to put Tom Hardy in here, I'd like to maintain Flash being the villain in the MCU. At least the one iteration of this Venom.
So like trying to meet the demand though. So like would it be we established that Eddie he's not the award-winning journalist in this universe? Like we're gonna make Tom Hardy, Eddie Brock here as well, lives in New York, struggling to still make it because print is dead and reporting is a different beast now.
Yeah, he's just Peter Parker's competitor at the Daily Bugle.
So would he even be that? Wouldn't he be a reporter who's just trying to get a scoop on Spider-Man at this point? Because that's what everyone's trying to do. And so the symbiote gets a hold of Peter. They have their falling out. The symbiote's like, fine, I don't need you anyway. And because Eddie Brock's been stalking around Spider-Man's stomping grounds,
Brock needs to have a legitimate reason to hate Spider-Man. Because that is what.
Sure, we would need to establish that Spider-Man keeps spoiling his scoops. That's all I can think of, and using scoop for me in a context that doesn't involve like food in some way feels weird.
Because like the Topher Grace Venom was so dumb because he was like photoshopped an image of Spider-Man and claimed it as his own.
On paper, I actually thought that was brilliant because he is literally Peter Parker who makes the wrong choices.
Sure,
he is the anti Peter Parker, and thus he becomes the anti Spider-Man.
The Aunt May Peter Parker. The Aunt May Peter Parker.
Ant-Man. No one's talking about Ant-Man here. So I am looking at trying to set this up, and he becomes more of a straight up antagonist, right? He's not.
Well, that's one of the charms of Tom Hardy playing Eddie is that he's a good guy. He's just a hungry journalist and not a dickhead.
Sure, in
this version,
in this, he would be a hungry journalist who is becoming, before the symbiote, is very frustrated with his lot in life and very frustrated that it seems everyone in the world gets an interview with Spider-Man,
except
or
me,
gets clean shots of Spider-Man, all these different things. Yeah, not him. For whatever reason, we can establish. Like maybe he's actually one of those more gotcha kind of journalists, and so that's why Spider-Man doesn't want to talk to him.
Like, no, man. No.
And so in that frustration, he's stalking him, and the symbiote ends up with him, not just out of coincidence, not just I happen to, but like literally he feels his presence, and he's like, I know this one, and that because it's the same, right? It's Tom Hardy again. So he's like, I know you. You're Eddie Brock. You're my Eddie Brock. Hooray, we're back. And he's like, what are you? You're an alien. And he's like, no, you we're friends. We go way back. And right, like something like that.
I got lost in your pronouns. We're still talking about the Tom Holland.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm trying to make Tom Hardy work as Eddie Brock in the MCU.
When he becomes Venom and then meets Spider-Man, is that what you're saying? That he's like, we're friends?
No. I'm saying the symbiote connects himself to Eddie Brock.
Gotcha.
Who's unaware of the symbiote in this universe. The reason the symbiote finds Eddie Brock is because it's a human that it connects with without consuming it and killing it.
The symbiote recognizes Eddie Brock.
Yes.
Sorry, I misunderstood. Yes, that's not bad. That the symbiote seeks out its original host, essentially.
And now Venom has a chip on its shoulder against Spider-Man. Eddie Brock
does.
has a chip on his shoulder against Spider-Man.
And the symbiote is able to poison Eddie's mind more easily than he did with the Sony, the spunk version of Eddie. Okay, that's good. That's not bad. Yeah. So yeah, okay.
Right. That's not a whole movie. That's just one of probably 3 plot lines.
Mm-hmm.
But it does firmly establish Eddie Brock and Venom as a villain. We don't get the fun-loving
jumping into fish tanks.
Yeah.
eating lobster, Eddie Brock.
Which maybe I'm wrong, I feel is what Venom fans want.
Yeah, Venom fans don't. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, like the hardcore Venom fans are more interested in the Todd McFarlane Venom, the original Venom,
Mhm.
the bad guy Venom.
Which I don't know if that's what we're. That's what. No, I think they want the one where he's a protagonist,
Oh, I see.
not where
I
he's
misunderstood.
just an
Yeah.
alien trying to eat. Yeah, are you? I think you're exhausted from this episode.
I'm like, I keep losing
Sorry.
the thread here. I'm like,
I'm
what's
sorry.
happening? No, don't apologize.
I love Tom Hardy.
Yes.
And I'm glad that Venom fans think that he is the perfect Eddie Brock. I think Tom Hardy also loves being Eddie Brock in
Mhm.
Venom
I
because
do
he
too.
voices Venom as well as being Eddie Brock, and
Mm-hmm.
that's neat and that's fun. I still like our fan casting. I don't know if we've ever said this here. I actually still, and I'm not going to get it, and that's fine. I love the idea of Tom Hardy as Doctor Doom.
Yes. We many
He would be
game
an
nights
amazing
ago.
Doom.
Many game nights ago, we had like, yeah, the
Yeah.
Richards.
Oh, he could do it so well.
Okay, so
With almost any iteration of the Fantastic Four that's been fan cast as well.
yeah, Tom Hardy would
save the It's Always Sunny Fantastic Four, which is also a
It's
great
Dennis. Dennis is
Yeah.
Doom in that.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think that ends it for this episode. Wait. Is
one. I've seen a
Frank-
couple for
Frank
that.
is thing.
I've seen a couple different ones.
Frank is Thing, D is Sue, Mac is Reed, and Charlie is Johnny, and then Dennis is Johnny Storm. You're right.
Mine was that Dennis was Reed Richards.
Okay, he does look more like Reed.
Yeah.
D is Sue.
Whereas the fan one I saw, because they had a picture of Rob McElhaney
Mhm.
with a beard,
Mhm.
and they're like, "Oh, that make him Reed Richards."
Okay.
And then I'm trying to remember the actors' names, and now I'm not going to be able
The
to.
sheer
So D would be Sue.
Yeah.
Charlie, I think, was
Thing.
the Thing.
Yeah. And so then Mac is Johnny Storm.
I think so.
And then
Yeah.
Frank is
that
Mole
would be-
Man or something.
Yeah.
Is Frank the Mole Man or
Yeah.
is Frank Dr. Doom?
Frank, I think, was he'd be great Mole Man. Or no, actually, I think he was the Thing. I don't remember, but they've that's a really fun fan casting. And it would make for a really comedic Fantastic Four, which is a franchise which I think the MCU will get right.
Yes.
But right now they have failed. Like it's kind of a cursed IP.
Yeah. Well, luckily the director of the Home trilogy is directing Fantastic Four.
Nice.
And anyone paying attention to this series of podcasts, that is now our third Fantastic Four conversation.
Is it?
We did the Christopher Guest's Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
We did
we did. I forgot about
Fast Four Stick Fan Furious.
it. Yep.
And now we've done the It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia Fantastic Four.
Yep.
It's always fantastic in Philadelphia.
It is.
Okay, I'm going to wrap up the episode here. That's the demand. If you agree, if you disagree, please let us know. You can message us directly at The Studio Demands It at studiodemandsit.com or on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram at Studio Demands It. If you are not already, you can subscribe to us on any pod form or podcatcher of your choice. And if you feel like giving us a review, you can do it in app on most of the apps. And that helps the show get out into the algorithm. You can find me at TC's Big Head. You can also hit Jim up by hitting me up at TC's Big Head. And I want to thank, we want to thank 6.5 Media for everything they do for us.
Thank you, 6.5 Media.
Thank you, 6.5 Media, for not just giving us a chance, but opening up the giving chances to a bunch of the other shows that are out there on this network. So if you go to studiodemands.com. Scroll down to the bottom. You can see all the other shows there. There's some gaming shows. There's a microbrewery podcast. There's a Broadway show, Broadway Through Broadway with Allison, as well as the Filmological Society, which is being added to the mix as well if you want to hear more movie talk that I guest on. That's it for this episode.
I love movies.
You love movies.
I love them.
It's great. That's it for this episode. We'll be back again soon with another demand to challenge to improve the world of cinema. I am TC.
I am Groot. I am Jim.
It's just Groot, teenage Groot hanging out with Spider-Man.
Yep.
I don't know if I could. Groot works on a team because there's so many people talking, right? But just Spider-Man and Groot, I don't think I could. Ned and Groot, that I'd watch.
Sure.
Okay, that's it, folks. That's the end of the episode. We'll talk to you next, we'll talk at you the next time. Okay, bye.
Goodbye.